Okay, I'll be talking about your data collection and statistical tools. So remember, our topic here is nursing informatics. At baka magtaka kayo, sir, bakit may data collection and statistical tools? One of the changes that happened in your curriculum is that some statistics subject were already removed and it is already incorporated in the in the nursing informatics, and some of which is already incorporated in nursing research. Kung kaya, data collection and statistical tools is discussed here in this subject. And then other than that, if you would look at data collection and statistical tools, your data collection and statistical tools would be inclined on the use of technology. Okay, if you can recall, one of the activities that you have for this class is to make a Google form. And the use of that Google form is actually an application already of your data collection and statistical tools. Okay, now let's go over some of the concepts first about data before I will talk about the available technology that can help us in data collection. So 1+ is, what is data? When we talk about data, it's the raw material or the raw numbers that the statisticians work on. So for example, your scores in the major exam, your age, your sex, the number of times that you're washing your hands, all of those are data. Okay, all of those class are considered data. Okay, now when you talk about data, your data is found on surveys, it is found on experimental studies and other modes of researches. So napakarami tayong source ng data. And it is gathered to study the variable. And when we talk about the variable, kindly highlight that the variable is a characteristic trait of a certain substance or individual. Okay, when I say variable, it is a characteristic trait of a certain substance or individual. Halimbawa, pag tatanungin kita, do you have a boyfriend? Yes or no? Okay, that's a variable. Okay, that's a variable. Yung isa dyan strong ang yes, parang katabi pa yata. Ano? Okay, pagkatapos, when I talk, for example, what is your age? And then you will say, my age is, let's say, for example, 20 years old. 20 years old is a variable. Okay, 21 is a variable for that matter. The age is the variable, and then 20 and 21 is the data class about that variable. So basically, when you look around you, the laptop is a variable by itself. There are different types of laptop. The type of clothes that we are wearing is a variable by itself. The length of the hair that we have is a variable by themselves. So there are a lot of variables going on around us. Okay. Now, when we talk about variables, we categorize them into two distinct categories. And that is your qualitative variable, and then you have your quantitative variable. When I talk about qualitative variable, kindly highlight the word represent differences in quality. The keyword there, class, is to represent differences in quality. Okay, character or kind, but not in amount. So siguro, ang mas mahalagang i-highlight is hindi amount. For example, place of birth. Pinanganak ka halimbawa sa Iloilo City. Kung pinanganak ka man sa Cavite, pinanganak ka man sa Bacolod, sa Cebu, sa Davao, that's your birthplace. And I could not quantify it. Okay? Religion. For example, I would say I'm a Roman Catholic. In your case, you may say you're Baptist, you're Protestant, you're Muslim. We could not quantify it. We could not say which one is better, which one is worse. Okay? Hindi natin alam. The same class sa civil status, hindi ko naman pwedeng sabihin na mas mainam yung buhay kapag tayo ay single, tapos mas mainam yung buhay ng married kasi sila ay may partner. No, it does not follow. Hence, it's considered to be qualitative in nature. Okay? Sex class, skin color, eye color, and in qualitative researches, the verbatim statements that your participants are giving is considered to be qualitative variables. Ibig sabihin, pag nag-share, for example, yung participant mo ng experiences niya sa buhay, that is considered to be a qualitative variable. Now, when I talk about quantitative variable, guys, your quantitative variable is quantity. Okay, quantity siya. Ibig sabihin, we're talking about numbers and they can be ordered or ranked. Very common example is your age, your scores. Basically, lahat na may numbers. Okay? Haba ng table, amount of money that you have in your wallet, those are all quantitative data. And take note that there are data that can be expressed in both quantitative and qualitative terms. Okay? There are data that can be expressed in both quantity and qualitative terms. Now, when I talk about quantitative variables, your quantitative variables could be further divided into two. That two division of your quantity variable is your discrete and then your continuous. Okay? Discrete and then continuous. Pag sinabi kong class na discrete, these are variables that are counted and non-decimal. Halimbawa, number of ball pens inside your bag, that is considered to be discrete. Number of children, so alam natin, 5 yung number of children. Pero pag sinabi natin class na continuous variables would use decimal and fraction. Halimbawa, pag sabihin ko, what's your height? Some of you would say, my height is 5'2". Others would say, my height is 150 centimeters. Or others would say, my height is 160.5 centimeters. My weight, for example, is 80 kilograms. My weight is 85.2 kilograms. Temperature, 36.5, 36.8, 37.5. Blood pressure, 110/80. So these are all considered to be continuous type of data. Kasi class, it uses either decimals or fractions. Now, when we talk about variables naman, the two main types naman based on research is the independent variable and then the dependent variable. Okay? So class, yung dalawang uri ng variable is your independent at saka yung dependent variable. Pag sinabi nating independent variable, yan po yung tinatawag nating stand-alone variable. Tinatawag po siyang stand-alone variable. Pag sinabi naman nating dependent variable, the dependent variable class is the variable being predicted. Okay, it is the variable being predicted. Ano pong ibig sabihin natin dito? In research, another way for us to differentiate this is by saying that the independent variable is actually the presumed cause and the dependent variable is actually your presumed effect. Okay? Again, class, your independent variable is your presumed cause at saka your dependent variable is considered to be your presumed effect. Okay? Now, halimbawa, tingnan niyo itong study na to. Music therapy and level of comfort among geriatric patients. Class, kapag yan po yung research na ipopursue natin, ano po palagay ninyo yung independent variable? Is it the music therapy or is it the level of comfort of your geriatric patients? Anybody on chat? Pag sinabi kong independent variable, independent, saan po kaya dyan sa dalawa yung presumed cause? Is it the music therapy or the comfort? Sige nga, I would like to see your responses on chat para malaman natin kung naiintindihan ninyo kung ano yung presumed cause at saka yung presumed effect. Okay? Yes. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, tama. Music therapy. Okay, class, ganito lang yung isipin nyo. Ano ba yung mauuna? Yung music therapy or comfort ng patient? So, of course, it's the music therapy. Okay? Kasi nga, pag nag-music therapy, baka komportable yung geriatric patient natin. So that's why, class, your independent variable is your music therapy. Your dependent variable is the level of comfort. Your geriatric patients, their class would be the study population. Okay? It would be the study population for your geriatric patients. Now, there are different scales of measurement of data, and we commonly memorize this by NOIR, nowhere. Okay, so you have your nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Class, when I talk about the nominal scale, your nominal scale talk about categories, identifying names, and membership. So class, when I say nominal, hindi mo siya pwedeng marang. Alam mo lang, halimbawa, sex, male, female. Or how about gender, lesbian, gay, kay ano pa, ayan, bisexual, kay transgender, halimbawa. I could not say which one is better. No? I could not say which one is better. Religion, I can say Protestant, Muslim, Roman Catholic. I don't know which one is better among this. Okay? Diagnosis, hindi ko naman masasabi na mas mabuti pang na stroke kaysa sa na heart attack, di ba? So class, with that, I will, those are just categories. No? They remain to be categories. They remain to be names. Hindi ko siya pwedeng i-rank. That's why it's considered nominal. Now, pag sinabi ko namang ordinal, yung keyword nyo dyan is order. Okay, ordinal. Your keyword there is order. Ibig sabihin, pwede ko siyang i-order, pwede ko siyang i-rank. Example, income bracket. Pwede kong sabihin na, uy, low income. Uy, kami middle income. Uy, sila, very high income or mga mayayaman sila. Okay? Now, for example, your letter grades, no? Halimbawa, sa ibang school, ang grading system is A+, A-, B+, B-, C+, C-, tsaka failed. Okay? That's considered to be ordinal. Birth order, halimbawa, I will say I'm the eldest. Okay? Then the youngest is, so that's the birth order in our family. Whereas, class, when I talk about interval and ratio, the best thing that you can remember for these two is that they talk about numbers. Okay? They talk about numbers. But for you to differentiate them, you need to remember that in the ratio scale class, there is what we refer to as absolute zero. Okay? Bakit ganyan po yung pagkakasulat po sa screen? Para ma-recall po ninyo na dahil ratio po siya, O po yung ending, may absolute zero po siya. Ano pong ibig sabihin natin ng absolute zero? It means that zero does not exist. Zero does not exist. Halimbawa, if I will say the volume of the soft drinks that I drank today is 0 ml. May ininom ba akong soft drink pag magkaganon? Wala, di ba? Okay? Or if I will say the height of my best friend is 0 centimeters. May best friend ka ba na 0 centimeter? Wala. Walang nag-i-exist na ganon, di ba? Okay? Or I will say, the age of my student is 0 days. May tao ba na 0 days yung age? Wala. Okay? Wala. So class, it means it's on the ratio scale. It means 0 does not exist. Eh sir, kailan ba naman yung nag-i-exist yung 0? A very good example is your degree Celsius. If I will say the temperature right now is 0 degrees Celsius, can you feel something sa 0 degrees Celsius? May mafe-feel ba ako sa 0 degrees Celsius? Yes, di ba? Napakalamig. Kaya it's considered to be the freezing point. Okay? That's why class it exists. It's considered to be interval. Okay? Yan po yung isipin natin. Pag sinabi ko namang 0 degree Fahrenheit, may temperature din na nag-i-exist. Okay? So please remember that among your nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Now, if you would look at this slide, this reminds us that there are different ways for us to collect the data for the quantitative research. And dito na po papasok yung technology natin. In the requirement that you are perhaps working on right now, okay, you have your online questionnaire using Google Forms. And you know that other than Google Forms, may Microsoft Forms pa, may SurveyMonkey, may mga jot form pa tayong tinatawag, and many others available in the internet. And we also have your digital polls. Your digital polls, a very good example for that will be your messenger. Okay? A very good example for that is your messenger. Okay? Di ba kung nakikita ninyo, class sa messenger natin, pwede tayong mag-create ng poll dyan, tapos pwede kayong mag-respond, no? Whether, for example, you are happy, you are sad, then you can create that poll and then everybody will be able to do it live. Okay, so that's an example of your digital polling. Now, if you already appreciate the value of your Google Forms, kung nakikita po ninyo, right away we are able to gather the results. Right away nakikita po natin sa Microsoft Excel yung file po natin. Okay, we can able to see it on the spreadsheet or Excel. Now, for the data processing naman, no? Data processing. Class, dati-rate, before itong mga software na to na perhaps kakilala nyo na, okay? Dati-rate, class, what they do is that they use questionnaires, they would use calculators, and they would use pen and paper to compute for the test statistic. Nung wala pa yung calculator, guys. Yan po yung ginagamit. But right now, since data processing is very convenient, these are the things that can be used. Spreadsheets. Pag sinabi ko class na spreadsheet, parang yan yung generic name. That's the generic name class for the Excel file that we usually refer to. So you have your spreadsheets. Your spreadsheets class would be MS Excel, your Google Sheet, and then you also have your Open Office. I don't know if you've heard about SPSS. Your SPSS class is Statistical Package for Social Sciences. Kindly write it down. When I say class SPSS, it's Statistical Package of Social sciences or statistical package for social sciences. It is where, as nurse researchers, as statisticians, it is where we run the statistical test that we are doing. Okay? Di ba nung high school kayo na-encounter nyo, may research kayo to determine what is the significant difference between the blah and the blah. Okay, class, you would be doing your SPSS. If I would want to know if what antibiotic is more effective, you go back to SPSS. SPSS class is made by your IBM. Okay? And then there's another counterpart that I just actually read from our reference text is your PSPP. The PSPP class is made by the GNU operating system. And then you also have your SAS, that is a statistical analysis software. And then you have your in vivo. Class, the first 3 bullets here are inclined for quantitative research. Ang tatlong pong yan ay ginagamit sa quantitative research. The last one, in vivo, is used for qualitative research. Okay? Sir, ano pong ginagawa sa in vivo? Class, for example, if we will have an interview, imagine nyo na lang may interview na 45 minutes. Lahat pong pinag-usapan namin during the 45 minutes will be transcribed, sinusulat. Pagkatapos, class, using the in vivo, I will be able to group the statements and assign the statements kapag palareho yung message nila. Halimbawa, sabi ng participant A, ang lungkot ng buhay. Sabi naman ni participant B, parang hindi ko na to kayang gawin. Okay? Plus, using in vivo, I will be able to lump these statements. Okay? Qualitative research is also something interesting that you might want to pursue on. In nursing, it's very important to understand the experiences of our clientele. Okay? In particular, for example, my students conducted researches on experiences of nurses who recovered from COVID. I have also read studies of, my students also conducted studies on experiences of student nurses who are working during the time of the pandemic. Okay? We also studied on the experiences of student nurses whom parents are working abroad and the like. No? Napakaraming mga qualitative studies na pwede nating ma-embark. But qualitative studies is also very, what do you call that, rigorous. It would also entail a lot of time for us to do the analysis. Now, for your data presentation class, there are 3 ways for us to present your data. One is textual. Pag sinabi kong text, ibig sabihin sulat, okay? Paragraph to explain the data. Tabular, we use the table, that will be your rows and your columns. Graphical, you use your graph in the form of visual presentations. Okay? We will have a separate discussion on the graphical presentation. Then, another format that we need to be familiar of is what we refer to as your IMRAD. Baka later on sabihan kayo, uy, may conference. Mag-submit ka ng abstract in IMRAD format. So ano pong ibig sabihin ng IMRAD format? Class, when we talk about IMRAD format, IMRAD just stands for introduction, methods, results, and discussion. Later on, when you will be reviewing your literature in the internet, you will find out that there are 4 common parts there. And that 4 common parts is your IMRAD. Introduction, methods, result, and baka nagtataka, sir, ano yung A? Yung A plus end lang yan, and discussion. Okay? Ano yung sa introduction? Doon ka nagme-make a case. Why did you conduct this research? You are discussing the necessity of the problem, the situation, the gap, and then you include your objectives and the hypothesis. Under the methods, you will explain there, what did you do? Anong ginawa mo sa research mo? So it is where you will discuss the population, the sample that you have, the methods, and then the equipment, if ever there are equipments that you use. Sa results, ano po yung findings ninyo? Okay, so ano po yung results? Dapat nakasulat siya sa past tense, dapat gamitan siya natin ng tables at saka figures. Plus, on the captions, the general guide is, kapag table, yung caption is nasa taas. Kung kaya nanonotice nyo, di ba yung format, table 1, tapos yung table sa ilalim nakikita. Kapag figures naman class, sa figures, for the figures, anong tawag nga? For the figures, guys, the caption is found below the figure. So for example, may graph na nakadrawing class, yung figure 1 sa ilalim ng graph nakalagay. Okay, that's the format in writing the research report. And then for the discussion, what does it mean? Halimbawa sa results mo, lumabas na student nurses are moderately stressed. Okay, as a discussion, anong ibig sabihin na moderately stressed sila? Okay, anong dapat natin gawin kasi may moderate stress yung mga student nurses? Okay, so please remember your IMRAD. You will have more appreciation of the IMRAD once you are already in your research classes. Okay, so that's the meat of the discussion for this topic. Any questions that you have?